A strange voice kept calling me from the trees. I don't even know where to start. It's been 3 weeks, and I still wake up soaked in sweat, heart racing like I'm still out there. I haven't told anyone, haven't even opened up my phone to the photos since I got back. I just wanted to forget, but I can't. I hear it every night. That voice. It wasn't supposed to be anything serious, just a solo trip to clear my head. After breaking up with my girlfriend, I figured some time off-grid might be good for me. I was spiraling a bit, drinking too much, getting pissy with coworkers, ignoring texts. I needed something raw, something to reset me. So I booked a 2-night backcountry permit in Shenandoah National Park through an app called The Dirt. My plan was simple: hike in about 6 miles, set up camp near a lesser-used trail called Neighbor Mountain, and just exist for a while. Read, eat cheap trail mix, maybe cry into the stars, whatever it took. I loaded up at REI a few days before, picked up one of those overpriced but ultralight Big Agnes tents, a Yeti cooler, freeze-dried meals, and a jet boil. I brought a hatchet, a basic first aid kit, bear spray, just in case, and a backup battery for my phone. I didn't bring a gun. I regret that now more than anything. I parked near Elk Wallow Gap, locked my car, and started hiking in around 2:30 p.m. It was quiet, like too quiet. No birds, no bugs, just the sound of my boots crunching gravel and the occasional rustle of leaves when the wind picked up. I got to my site just before 6. It wasn't even an official campsite, just a clearing I found near a dried-up creek bed. Totally secluded. You couldn't see the trail from the camp, and that's what I liked about it. It felt hidden. Safe, almost. That night was fine. I cooked, read a little, smoked a bit. Nothing weird. I even fell asleep faster than I expected. Despite the woods being so dark, it felt like I'd been swallowed. But the second night, that's when everything flipped. It started with a sound. Not loud. Just wrong. I was boiling water for my second meal. Some freeze-dried pasta bullshit, and I heard this crack, like a branch snapping. Not a twig, but a thick one. Heavy. I froze, listened, then nothing. I told myself it was a deer, or maybe a bear rooting around. I banged my mug against a tree a few times, trying to scare off whatever it was. Classic move, right? Then I heard a voice. Not yelling, not close. Just a soft, calm voice calling. Hello. Not urgent, not panicked. Just that, like they were testing it. It came from behind me, up the ridge. No flashlight, no footsteps. Just that voice floating through the trees. Hello. I didn't say anything back. My stomach dropped. I turned off my jet boil, crouched down low, and just waited. The voice didn't speak again. I stayed like that for maybe 15 minutes, heart slamming in my chest, listening for any sign of movement. But there was nothing. Just that thick, choking silence. Eventually, I convinced myself it was another camper. Maybe someone got lost. Maybe they were high. Maybe it was a fluke. But something in me knew better. It didn't feel like someone asking for help. It felt like someone looking for something. I packed up my food, stuffed everything into the bear canister, and tied it up in a tree. When I got back into my tent, I locked the zipper from the inside, buried myself in my sleeping bag, and gripped the bear spray like it was a gun. Around 1 a.m., I woke up needing to piss. I tried to ignore it, but it got bad. So I unzipped the tent, stepped outside barefoot, and pissed maybe 4 feet from my shelter. And then, footsteps, fast ones, crunching leaves, coming toward me from the trees, straight ahead. I didn't even think. I bolted back into the tent, zipped it, grabbed my flashlight, and shone it out through the mesh. Nothing, no movement, no sound, just the stillness of a forest that felt like it was watching me. I didn't sleep that night, and when I got out of the tent at sunrise, there were bare footprints in the dirt, circling the tent, 2 sets. The footprints weren't even subtle. They weren't old, worn out, faded. No, these were fresh, still sharp, like someone had just been there minutes before I opened the tent. You could see the arches, the toes, the goddamn heel marks. And it wasn't just one set. There were 2 distinct tracks, and they circled my tent like vultures. Slow, deliberate loops. They didn't run. They walked. Around and around. No shoes, no boots, just bare feet in the dirt. I stood there for a long time, flashlight still on, even though the sun was up. The light beam looked ridiculous in the daylight, but I didn't want to lower it. It felt like a weapon. I don't even know what I was hoping to see. Maybe someone crouched behind a tree, giggling, waiting for me to freak out so they could pop out and say it was a joke. But there was no one. I did a wide sweep of the area, like a big, messy loop around the clearing. Nothing. No gear, no tarp, no hammock, no sign that anyone else had been camping nearby. And that's when it hit me. They weren't staying out here. They were just passing through, watching, and now they knew exactly where I slept. I didn't eat that morning, just crushed up a Cliff Bar in my mouth and chugged half an Nalgene while tearing down my tent in a rush. I was moving on autopilot, everything packed by 8 a.m., heading back toward the trail. I told myself I'd make it to my car by noon and drive straight home. Maybe call the Rangers if I could find a station on the way out. I don't know. I wasn't thinking clearly. I remember how loud the forest felt as I hiked, like every branch crunch under my boot echoed too far. I kept looking over my shoulder, scanning behind trees. I started talking to myself out loud, just nonsense like, okay, you're fine. Probably just kids messing around. Probably a joke. Maybe a couple of backcountry weirdos. Just keep walking. Just walk. Just walk. Then I saw the shirt, hung on a branch about chest height. A faded red t-shirt, stained with something mud or worse. Just hanging there. Not even flapping in the breeze. Stiff, like it had been out there a while. But what messed me up wasn't the shirt itself. It was the fact that someone had taken rocks and made a little circle under it. A perfect circle, like some kind of ritual. And in the middle of the rock circle, a mirror. A small, square mirror, probably ripped from a makeup case or something. Propped against a twig so it reflected the trees above it, like someone wanted it to show the canopy, not themselves. I didn't touch it. Didn't even get close. I just walked faster. About a mile later, I found a marker sign for the trail Neighbor Mountain Trail and noticed something else. It had been scratched. Deep, heavy scratches, like with a knife or keys. Just slashes, no words. But at the very bottom, carved so faintly you had to lean in to see it, were the letters. He came back. No explanation. No context. Nothing. My stomach dropped, and I nearly turned around to run the opposite direction. That's when I heard it again. That voice, this time, closer, still calm. Still, that weirdly even tone. But now it was behind me, maybe 100 feet up the ridge. I didn't sleep at all last night. I just laid there, frozen, with my eyes locked on the window across the room. The whisper had been so soft I imagined it like it could have been the wind or some weird echo from the alley. But that word, That one, harmless, F-ing word. Hello? Exactly the same tone as before. Like a question that wasn't actually a question. Like a trap dressed as curiosity. I didn't move. I didn't even blink for maybe 10 minutes. I just stared at the curtains, listening. Every muscle locked. Nothing followed. No knock. No footsteps. No laughter. Just the hum of the city outside, and the distant sound of a siren somewhere in the east. I finally crawled out of bed around 4 a.m. and checked the window. I live on the second floor of an apartment complex in Arlington, with a narrow alley between the buildings. There's no way someone could have stood outside my window without a ladder. Or, unless they were already in the building. That thought locked me up inside my head. I spent the morning doing laps through the apartment. Checked every room, every closet, under the bed, even inside the F-ing kitchen cabinets. I don't know what I expected. I just couldn't shake the feeling that someone had gotten inside. I didn't go to work. I didn't tell anyone what was going on. I just sat on my couch with a baseball bat across my lap, staring at the front door. And here's the thing that keeps tearing at me. When I was hiking out of the woods, when I found that photo in the car, I didn't take inventory. I just left. I never checked to see if anything was missing from my pack. This morning I did, and something was gone. Not my phone, not the food, not the wallet. They took my toothbrush. I know how stupid that sounds. I know how small it is. But I swear to you, I packed it. One of those cheap folding REI toothbrushes that fits in a plastic case. I remember putting it in the mesh side pocket of my pack because I didn't want toothpaste leaking into the food bag. And now it's gone. That's not theft. That's a message. It means they opened my bag, touched my stuff, picked something small, something intimate, and took it with them. I tried telling myself I just dropped it, that maybe I lost it during the panic. But deep down, I know better. Later that night, I opened my laptop and looked through the photo albums on my phone. I hadn't touched them since I got back, but I had this creeping, gnawing dread that made me want to check. And sure enough, there it was, a new folder, not mine, labeled just DC. I never made it. I don't use underscores for folders. I don't even name them with cities. My hands were shaking so hard I clicked it twice by accident. Inside were 4 photos, all of me, inside my apartment, one of me sitting on the couch, one of me cooking eggs in the kitchen, one of me brushing my teeth in the mirror, and the last one was me sleeping, the same angle as the tent photo, same soft glow from a screen. But this time, the screen light was from my TV. I didn't take those. I couldn't have. There's no camera in my apartment. No roommate. No timer shots. No reason any of those images should exist. And yet there they were, time stamped across the last 6 days. I slammed the laptop shut and dry heaved in the sink. There was nothing left in me to throw up. Just bile and spit and this overwhelming, rotting panic. I think whoever was in the woods followed me home. I think they're here now. And I think they're waiting for something. That night, I did something stupid. I sat by the window with the lights off and waited. Not because I thought it was smart, but because I needed to see. I needed to know. I live across from another apartment building. Normal place families, students, boring old people. Nothing sketchy. But around 2:47 a.m., I saw something that made my lungs stop working. On the roof of the building across from mine, a figure, just standing there. No flashlight, no movement, just a silhouette barely visible against the soft glow of the city skyline. They were facing my window, not watching anything else, not smoking, not pacing, just waiting. I watched them for 20 minutes. They didn't sit. They didn't stretch. I started to think maybe it was a vent or something, casting a weird shadow, until they raised their hand and waved. Not fast, not playful, just one long, slow wave. Like they were saying hello, like they knew I was watching. I hit the floor, crawled away from the window and stayed on the kitchen tiles until sunrise. That whole night, I kept hearing the creak of wood. Not from inside, but from above me. Someone on the roof. The maintenance access door is locked. There's no way up there without a key. But I swear, I heard slow, shuffling steps up there, back and forth, all night long. This morning, I went outside. Couldn't take it anymore. I needed air. My hoodie smelled like sweat and fear. I probably looked homeless. Didn't care. When I came back, there was something shoved in my mailbox. No stamp, no address, just a blank envelope with my name written in neat, cramped handwriting. Inside, my toothbrush, still damp, still smelling like mint, and scribbled across the plastic handle, written in tiny ballpoint letters. Are you ready to come back to the trees? I didn't go back inside. Not at first. I just stood there on the sidewalk, holding the envelope in one hand and my toothbrush in the other, like I was frozen in some up glitch in reality. The people passing by had no idea. Cars kept rolling past. Some guy was walking his dog like it was just a normal Thursday. And I'm standing there, holding a wet toothbrush that was in someone else's hands last night. I dropped it, right there on the pavement. I couldn't bring myself to carry it another inch, but I couldn't throw it away either. I don't even know why. Some sick part of me kept thinking, what if they're watching you right now? What if there's a camera on that lamppost? What if throwing it away is the exact thing they're waiting for? I walked 2 blocks to the nearest coffee shop just to sit down and breathe. But even there, I kept checking the windows. Every time someone came through the door, I flinched. I looked for faces I recognized, but knew I'd never seen. My mind was spiraling. What if they're in here with me? What if they're sitting 2 tables back, just watching me unravel? I used their bathroom to splash water on my face. I looked in the mirror and almost didn't recognize myself. I'd lost weight. My eyes looked sunken, hair greasy. I looked like a guy halfway into a nervous breakdown, which, to be fair, I was. That's when I made the worst decision of all. I opened my phone and checked the photos again. The DC folder was gone. Just gone. Like it had never existed. But here's the kicker. My phone had been off since I left the apartment. No Wi-Fi, no Bluetooth, no data. So, how the F.K. did a folder disappear on its own? I backed everything up to an external hard drive when I got home. I didn't feel better, but I felt like I was doing something. And after I triple-checked all my locks, put a chair under the doorknob, and closed every curtain in the apartment, I sat down and tried to come up with a plan. I told myself, this is a stalker. Just a stalker. A sick who saw you camping alone. Maybe followed you back. Maybe got off on scaring you. Could be a YouTube prankster. Could be some backwoods creep with a drone and a lens. But then, there's how personal it's getting. They're not just watching me. They're toying with me. They took the one thing that felt safe, my home, and infected it. Bit by bit. Little signs. Footsteps. Pictures. The whisper at the window. And now, the note. The toothbrush. The phrase burned into my brain. Are you ready to come back to the trees? Why would they want that? Why wouldn't they just hurt me here? Why this game? That night, I took a sleeping pill. I couldn't take it anymore. I just needed to shut my eyes and slip into nothingness, even if it was risky. I knew it was stupid, but I didn't care. I curled up on the couch, not even my bed, with the bat still in reach and the hallway light left on. And I did sleep, for a while, but I woke up just before 3 a.m. because I was cold. The front door was wide open. No noise, no wind, just that silent, gaping mouth leading out into the black hallway. I sat up so fast I nearly threw up. I checked the door lock was still intact. Chain wasn't broken. It had been unlocked, not kicked in, like someone used a key. I backed into the kitchen, barefoot, gripping the bat so tight my hand cramped. I was shaking all over. Tears started leaking down my face, and I didn't even notice until they hit my lips. I whispered out loud to nobody, "Please stop." And then I heard it again. Not inside, not behind me. From the hallway, just beyond the door. That same F-ing voice, but now, closer. "Are you home?" Not hello. Not, "Is anyone there?" "Are you home?" Like they already knew. Like they'd been in every room already. And were just confirming. I slammed the door shut and locked every bolt. Dragged the couch in front of it. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. The next morning, I packed everything I could fit into 2 bags and left. Didn't even leave a note. Just walked out and took a rideshare to a cheap motel 2 towns over. Place with flickering neon lights, cigarette burns in the carpet, and a lobby that smelled like moldy coffee. It was perfect. Anonymous. Ugly. Forgotten. I paid in cash. I turned off my phone. I didn't tell anyone where I was going. And for about a day and a half, I felt okay. Not good, but numb. Like maybe if I stayed buried long enough, this would all stop. I kept the blinds closed and the lights off. Didn't use my name at the front desk. And for about a day and a half, I felt okay. Not good, but numb. Like maybe if I stayed buried long enough, this would all stop. I kept the blinds closed and the lights off. Didn't use my name at the front desk. Ate vending machine food and cheap liquor from the corner store. I started convincing myself it was over, until I got back from grabbing ice around midnight and found a stick propped up against my door. Just a stick, nothing special, snapped from a tree. But carved into the bark, scratched with something sharp, were 2 words. "Come home." No room number, no message, no signature. But it didn't need one. They'd found me. Again, they weren't going to stop. And suddenly I realized something I hadn't let myself think until that moment. They wanted me scared. They thrived on it. But they also wanted something else. They wanted me to return, to go back to the woods, to them. And the sickest part? Some part of me, deep in my chest, was starting to wonder if they were already inside my head, because I could hear something, faint, under the hum of the room heater, from the walls, or the vents, or maybe the corner of the ceiling I hadn't looked at yet. That familiar, calm voice. But now, it was whispering something new. "We miss you." I left the motel barefoot, didn't pack, didn't check out. Didn't even lock the door behind me. I just walked out into the parking lot and kept walking until the neon glow of the sign faded behind me. My heart was hammering, my vision blurry with rage and panic and confusion. I didn't know where I was going, just that I couldn't stay. I wandered until I hit a gas station. Sat on the curb outside for maybe an hour, rocking like a lunatic with my arms wrapped around my knees, trying to convince myself I wasn't losing it, that this was still real. The worst part was, I could still hear it. That voice, not in my ears, not like a hallucination, but somewhere beneath my thoughts. In the quiet moments, it would just slip in like a familiar memory, whispering, "We miss you. It's safer in the trees. Come home." That night, I broke down. Really broke down. Like sobbing in the bathroom stall of a Walmart, and trying not to scream kind of breakdown. People kept coming in and out, ignoring me. I was grateful for that. Eventually, I opened my phone fully expecting the folder to reappear. Or maybe a new message, but nothing. Just the usual apps. A few unread texts from people I hadn't talked to in weeks. I stared at the home screen for a long time before opening Google Maps. And without even thinking, without even meaning to, I typed Shenandoah National Park, then El Qualo Gap, Neighbor Mountain Trail, and finally, Backcountry permit office. It was like my fingers were doing it on their own, like I'd been guided. Something inside me had given up on running. They weren't going to let me go, and a part of me, maybe the worst part, wanted to go back. Not because I thought it would save me, or stop the stalking, or somehow fix the broken thread unraveling in my head, but because I needed answers. Because whatever the K was going on out there, it started in those trees, so maybe it would end there too. The next morning, I bought new camping gear, threw out the old stuff, drove 3 hours to a new REI in a different town and picked up the bare essentials. Tent, knife, cheap headlamp, protein bars. I didn't care about brand names anymore. I wasn't doing this for comfort. This wasn't a trip. It was a return. No one at the permit station gave me a second look. I didn't even use my real name. Just handed them a crumpled ID from an old wallet I hadn't touched in months and signed whatever they put in front of me. The ranger, some kid, probably 21, at most asked if I'd been out that way before. I nodded. He smiled. Good. Most people don't come back once they see how quiet it is out there. I almost laughed. Almost. It was late afternoon by the time I started hiking. Same trail, same direction, but nothing looked quite the same. Like the forest had shifted somehow. Or maybe I was just seeing it different now, with eyes that knew what they were looking for. The trees looked taller, closer, the silence deeper. Like every sound was muffled under a thick blanket of leaves and dirt. I didn't stop, didn't set up camp. I just kept walking until the sun dipped low, and that familiar clearing came into view. It was still there, undisturbed, exactly how I left it, but with one new detail. In the center of the clearing, standing upright, was a mirror, full length, old, cracked down the middle, propped up against a tree trunk, and hanging from a branch above it, swaying ever so slightly in the breeze, was my toothbrush, the one they'd left in my mailbox. It was still damp, like it had just been used, and there, scratched into the bark beneath it, in crude, jagged letters, was a question. Do you see it now? I didn't touch it. I didn't speak. I just stared into the mirror, waiting for anything to move behind me. But the reflection stayed still, too still. And that's when I realized there was no reflection of the toothbrush. It was right above me in the branch. I could feel it swaying, could hear it creaking slightly. But in the mirror, it wasn't there. Only the trees, only me. And far behind me in the reflection so faint, it could have been a shadow, a figure, not standing, crouching, too close, too still, watching me with no face. I spun around. Nothing. No one. Just the forest. But when I looked back, the mirror was gone, vanished, like it had never been there. Just leaves and dirt, and the imprint of something heavy having stood there a moment before. I fell to my knees. Something inside me shattered then. Not from fear, but from the weight of knowing that I'd never understand. That whatever was happening wasn't about logic, or survival, or being hunted. It was about breaking me, and they were so close to succeeding. That night, I finally set up my tent. Didn't eat, didn't sleep. Just lay there on the cold floor of the forest, with the zipper wide open and the stars flickering like dying bulbs overhead. And sometime after midnight, they came, not running, not stomping, just bare feet on the leaves. Slow, careful, surrounding me. I could hear them whispering, not words, just that soft, breathy murmur of mouths moving around the tent. Then one of them leaned in so close, I could smell dirt and pine and something else, and whispered, clear as day, "This is where you belong now." I don't remember unzipping the tent, but I must have, because I woke up outside, flat on my back, in the middle of the clearing, with the trees towering over me like spectators. The early morning light was barely cutting through the branches, and the air smelled like wet bark and something else metallic, earthy, coppery. I sat up slow. My clothes were soaked, not with rain, with sweat. Maybe tears, maybe worse. The tent was still there behind me, but the stakes had been pulled, the The poles were snapped and tossed aside. My gear was gone, except for the mirror. That cracked, full-length mirror was standing again right at the edge of the clearing, almost waiting. I don't know if they brought it back, or if it never really left. I looked into it. There was no reflection, not even of me. Just trees, and a figure, farther, this time, walking away, but not out of fear, like it was leading me somewhere. And on the ground, right in front of the mirror, was a single object, my wallet. It was open. Inside was nothing. No ID. No cards. Not even cash. Just a slip of paper, folded into a perfect square. I unfolded it with shaking fingers. On it, in the same thin handwriting from the envelope, "You're ready now." I don't know what changed in me after that. Something gave way like a mental fuse just burnt out. There was no more panic. No more wondering what they wanted. Because the truth was starting to settle in, hard and cold and final. They didn't want to hurt me. They wanted to keep me. Not dead, not gone, just erased. Bit by bit, piece by piece. Until the person I was who I used to be was dust in the trees, and only what they left behind remained. I started walking. No gear, no phone, no map. Just followed the slope down past the trees, deeper into the unmarked paths. The ones you won't find on all trails. The ones even rangers pretend don't exist. The light faded fast. Too fast. But my eyes adjusted. The canopy above closed and like curtains being drawn. And then I saw them. Shapes. Figures. All around me. Not hiding anymore. Just standing. Half in shadow. Half in dappled green light. Some tall. Some small. All of them barefoot. All of them still. None of them spoke. They didn't have to, because I recognized some of them. A woman with long, dirty blonde hair and a Walmart brand fleece I'd seen in a missing person flyer 3 years ago. A guy in a bright orange Patagonia rain jacket, cracked sunglasses, beard like a feral animal staring through me like I wasn't even there. And a kid. Couldn't have been older than 12, holding a snapped fishing pole. All gone. All lost, but not dead. Changed. I passed them without a word, and when I turned to look back, they were following. All of them, not running, just matching my pace, like I'd joined a parade I didn't remember signing up for. At some point, I stopped walking, and that voice, the one that had haunted me, followed me, whispered in vents and windows and dirt floors, finally came through. No longer distant, no longer fake friendly. This time, it sounded inside me. "You never left. You just forgot." That's when I remembered something deep. Something buried. A flicker of a memory. This wasn't the first time I'd been out here. I had been a kid. A trip. With my father. Back when things were still normal. We camped near these same trails. I remember the fire. The night sounds. I remember waking up alone. Screaming, my dad gone for hours. He came back eventually. Said he just got turned around. But he wasn't right after that. He was different. Distant. And then he disappeared for good 6 months later. No noche. No signs. No body. I stared into the trees. And I knew. Let's come back to. I don't know how long I've been here now. Time doesn't work the same anymore. Days bleed into each other. Sometimes I hear hikers nearby. Laughing. Arguing. Snapping photos. They never see me. Not really. Sometimes I leave things for them. Footprints. A branch snapped just loud enough. A whisper from the trees. And sometimes they come back. Like me. And then they forget too. Because that's the thing about this place. It doesn't just take your body. It doesn't kill you. It rewrites you. Until you're just another shadow in the trees. Just another voice. Calling out. Hello. Are you home? We miss you. So if you're reading this, if you ever feel that pull to disappear into the woods, to reset, to clear your head, to be alone, don't. They're waiting, and they never forget a voice, especially yours.